What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, March the 26th, and that means it's time for my news radar. As always, this channel is community supported, so if you enjoy the video, please do consider becoming a member by clicking that join button down below, or maybe just doing a like, share, subscribe. Any of those things will help a ton. Thanks. Since it first really became a viable option, I've really enjoyed and even preferred the ability to purchase my video games digitally as opposed to buying physical hard copies. There's a lot of reasons why that's the case for me. I don't like clutter. I like to be able to just carry a device with me if it's a handheld or not have to worry about swapping discs. It's just way simpler. In fact, my gaming computer here does not have a disk drive. I have no need for a disk drive. Why would anyone ever need a disk drive in 2021? And some of my favorite handheld consoles have been things like the PSP, this of course being the PSP Go. Just listen to this mechanism here, guys. Come on, just check that out. How good is that? Awesome little handheld. Or even the later PlayStation Vita, which is a console that I absolutely adored for a good long time. And the digital only way of going about these things is really cool. I mean, obviously the Vita does have a slot here to insert a cartridge, just like the Nintendo Switch does now, but they've also got a slot for a memory stick to store games on there locally. And of course, that is what I did. And that 16 gig stick that was in there would hold a lot of games back when the Vita was in its heyday. That was really cool to be able to throw this thing in your pocket, go wherever, and have, 10, 15 games or whatever in your pocket at once. I played a lot of indie games. Those are very small. So I had a lot of games with me. I loved my Vita. For about a year, it was my primary gaming system, believe it or not. It just fit me really, really well. However, there is a downside to doing digital-only gaming. These games don't exist really out in the world. You can't go find them like you can older cartridge games for, say, your N64 that you can still physically track down copies. There's no server that's going to get shut down, which makes those games impossible to find, and that is exactly what we're talking about here with some Sony systems, because Sony is reportedly going to close down the PlayStation Store on the PS3, the Vita, and the PSP this summer. And boy, oh boy, is that a big bummer. It says here, speaking with sources familiar with the situation, The Gamer reports that Sony intends to close the PS3 and PSP versions of the PlayStation Store in early July before shutting down the Vita's online store in late August. So any game that's on any of those stores would no longer be purchasable on those systems. It's important to note here that it's unclear if you'll have the ability to re-download your games or not. That would be even worse, far worse even, if your library then becomes inaccessible. So if you deleted a game or whatever, you just can't get that back anymore. Now, there is no confirmation of this yet from Sony, but I've got to tell you, it feels soon. It feels a little soon to be shutting down these stores. And I know it's not that soon, especially for the PSP and the PS4, but the Vita, I don't know, something about that still feels like that's a little bit soon. What are we talking about? Like less than 10 years or something like that? Maybe it's been 10 years. And that's something that we really have to think about here going forward with not just games, but music and movies, really any kind of media, because physical copies of these things just aren't really going to be a thing in the future. The way things are going, there's so many advantages to running everything digitally that it's really easy to overlook the downside of doing things digital because there's no preservation that can take place. What's the closest thing you're going to have? A flash drive that you're going to load all your ROMs onto and be like, this is the entire collection of PlayStation portable games, and you're going to put it in a museum or something. That sucks. I remember it was already kind of shitty that I used to really enjoy the booklets, the pamphlets that would come with the games, because you would pull them back out a year later and you could smell the paper and you'd look through them and read them and everything. That went away a long time ago and that sucked. But now we just don't have anything that's physical at all anymore. Sticking with the video game segment of things, Reggie Fils-Aimé, who was one of the head honchos, I believe he was the president of Nintendo of America, who then left Nintendo, then became a member of the board of directors for GameStop. He's now retiring once more, leaving GameStop's board of directors. And this is interesting timing because, of course, GameStop stocks are still through the roof and they have all sorts of capital and they're trying to make lots of moves here to try and right the ship, so to speak, bringing in a guy from Chewy for online commerce and things like that. So the timing's rather strange. And here it says it's been less than a year into his tenure. He's going to step down in June. He's one of 8 other board members that's going to be replaced this summer, including former CEO of Walmart, William Simon, and PetSmart president and current PetSmart CEO, James Simak, according to SEC filing this week. So this does not look good for the future of GameStop. That 8 of their board members, including PetSmart guy, Walmart guy, Nintendo guy, they're all like, we're getting out of here before this shit goes down. Why would they all leave right now of all times? I guess it's also important to mention that we don't know that like they're just choosing to leave. Maybe they're being pushed out. I can't really say for sure on that, but it does sound like from the wording of this article that they're stepping down and retiring, but that could also just be kind of sideways business talk for getting fired. Now, obviously, GameStop is not the thing that it once was because used gaming is just not a big thing. And this goes back to the argument from earlier about some of the downsides of doing digital-only games. Well, another one of the downsides is that you can't buy used games when they're digital. There's no such thing. Again, you put on a flash drive or something and sell it to somebody. Well, it doesn't work that way. They have to actually have a license to pay to play the thing, rather. So GameStop has borne the brunt of the impact of the digital gaming revolution, and that's caused them to really struggle to find a new leg to stand on, a new model to progress, to go forward with. And of course, as Reddit decided to do this short squeeze and drive the stocks through the roof, it looked like for a moment there may be a light at the end of the tunnel, but perhaps that light is in fact a train barreling towards GameStop. Very interesting to see where this is going to go. But again, Reggie Fils-Aimé stepping down in June or July. Did I say this was Reggie Fils-Aimé in the beginning? I feel like maybe I didn't even say his name and I just showed you. Well, if I didn't, it was Reggie Fils-Aimé. And last but not least, we have some iPhone rumors. I always love when we get rumors of new flagship smartphones, what we're expecting. In particular, the iPhone is always curious for me, not because I like the iPhone or have ever owned one or ever will own one, more than likely, but because what iPhone does, everyone else does. And what iPhone does is legitimize. So let's look here at some reports, some rumors of what is coming on the new iPhone 13 Pro, Max, 5G, S, Mini, A, etc. Matte black color, new portrait mode, and more. Now, for one, matte black sounds fucking great. I love matte black. I love matte black. Look, MKBHD, one of my favorite YouTubers, his content makes my content look like garbage. But he loves matte black everything. I love matte black everything. Look at my case here. Matte, the black, the everything, if you know what I mean. So that'd be cool to see an iPhone in matte black. Color options are an important aspect of any smartphone. iPhone 13 will be sticking with the same winning formula. Silver and gold colors are expected to return, while the graphite finish is reportedly being refined to closely resemble a matte black colorway, something that will undoubtedly prove popular with the tech community. Here's an interesting thing too. Improved portrait mode with an OIS. So one of the things that they're going to be doing with their portrait mode is actually integrating data from a LiDAR sensor. So they're going to be firing lasers at your face. Light detection and ranging is a remote sensing method that uses light in the form of a pulsed laser to manage the ranges to the earth, or in this case, to your face. So it's going to fire lasers at your face, the lasers bounce back off, and then it detects the distances, and it will use that to map your head, face, hair region to potentially create a fake bokeh in a more accurate way around your head. Of course, the best way to have a portrait mode to create bokeh around your head region is to just have a camera with a really big aperture, something that just creates a natural bokeh, something in the 1.4 range, or that seems to be a good place for me anyways. But we're going to do it with software because the iPhone, just like the Pixel, which we talked about the other day, seems hard bent on not going above 12 megapixel cameras. Maybe that'll happen eventually, but who knows. And lastly, today's report says the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max are going to share the same camera module. So you're not going to be dealing with, well, I've only got two eyes on my stovetop. Now I've got all 3 on both models. So that is cool. iPhone 13 mini is definitely coming, which is cool because I like smaller phones, but no one bought the iPhone 12 mini. But I guess they're not going to stop trying with the mini phones just yet. So guys, that's all the late news I have for you today. Be sure to check back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the next news radar. Be sure to check in tomorrow for my inbox live stream. If there are any topics you want to hear me talk about in that live stream, you can also comment them down below. I'd love to hear from you guys there in preparation for tomorrow's live stream that will be sometime around 10 a.m. I'll have it scheduled probably by the time you're watching this video. So until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.